One of the biggest mistakes that people make in the gym when they start to have knee pain is resting until their knee feels better. And I see this all the time as a physical therapist. It's like someone knee starts hurting, so they stop squatting, they stop lunging, they stop running, they stop doing anything that exposes that pain or that brings on that pain, and then they just give it time and wait for that pain to go away. So eventually, a few weeks later, their knee may be feeling pretty good. So they think, okay, my knee is better. Then they go right back to the same workouts, the same leg day, the same weight, same exercises, the same level of demand that they were doing when their knee started hurting. And this is a big problem because this just assumes that just because your knee feels better, that it's actually ready for the same level of work, the same demands as before. And the truth is, feeling good doing your daily activities like walking, sitting for a while, if you have a desk job, or just going up and down stairs, doing like your daily stuff, getting 10K steps. Your knee feeling good with that is not the same as your knee being prepared to handle lower body movements in your workouts, because those day-to-day activities, they require a certain level of capacity, which is typically a lot lower than what you're gonna need in order to do squats, lunges, running, jumping, and all the other things that your workouts may require. So your pain going down, your symptoms getting better, yes, that's symptom reduction, but that's not saying that your body or your knees is going to be able to tolerate a higher level of capacity. Those are two different things. So the way I like to think of it is, picture a gas tank. Every car has a different size gas tank. Depending on the size of gas tank, it can handle or hold more gasoline, which is going to give you more miles, right? Your knee has a gas tank too. So let's say before your knee started hurting, that gas tank could only handle, let's say, 100 miles worth of work. So you were able to squat, you were able to lunge, you were able to run, jump, do your leg days, whatever you were able to do without pain fit into that gas tank. But typically, when pain and injuries happen, they happen because you exceed the level of what your body can handle. You exceed the level of that gas tank's capacity. So maybe you introduced more weight, you introduced more reps, more sets, or you just did more over time and it put you over that threshold. So that's why you start to have pain. But now that you're resting because you are thinking that it's going to help you feel better, that gas tank gets smaller and smaller. So instead of you being at 100 miles that your knee gas tank can handle, now you're at 90. The next week you take off, you're at 80, you're at 70, and it keeps going on and on and on the longer you rest. So week after week, that gas tank is getting smaller. So you're able to handle a lot less than what you were able to handle before. But because your knee is feeling better, you don't realize it. So you try to go back to the gym and do the same exercises because you're like, hey, my knee is feeling better. Let me just go for it. It's not a green light to just go back to the same exercises with the same expectations. So what we have to do is do whatever we can in order to keep our mileage and keep our gassing its current size. And really, we want to work as hard as we can to grow that gas tank. We want our knee to be able to handle a lot more things. This is why people always talk about progressive overload. It doesn't just apply to muscles. It applies to joints, it applies to tendons, it applies to everything. So if you want to be able to do more, do harder movements, you have to make sure that your body is progressively getting there. But if you're consistently taking time off because you want your knee to feel better, you're never actually giving it time to grow. You're never giving it time to get better. And the opposite is actually happening. You're actually getting worse, but you're not noticing it because you're not exposing it to anything that is bringing on your pain. So if you have pain with squats and you stop squatting, sure, your knee may feel better, but that does not mean that your knee actually got better at what you want it to do. Your knee didn't get better at squats. It didn't get better at its ability to handle you doing squats with a certain weight or certain reps, whatever was bothering you. You kind of just ignored the problem. You took out the problem. So, yeah, you're not noticing it, but that doesn't mean that the problem is gone. That problem is still there. So, the way we keep our gas tank big despite having pain and prevent us from regressing and getting smaller and smaller over time is doing all lower body movements within our tolerance. So let's say you have pain when you do back squats. There may be things that you can modify about the back squat before you even decide to take it out. That's the whole purpose of the knee screen. So if you haven't taken my knee pain screen that I built that asks you a couple of questions about the exercises that are giving you problems, then make sure you take that just comment screen and I'll send it to you. But there may be things that you can modify about the back squat before you take it out. You can modify how low you go. A lot of people only have pain when they hit a certain range of motion. So when they hit parallel. So you can modify the range of motion, not go as low. You can modify the reps. You can modify the weight. There's so many different things that you can do depending on when your pain is happening, right? But if that doesn't work, we can still train the squat pattern. A lot of people have knee pain with certain exercises, but that doesn't mean that they can't do any other variation of the exercise. Just because you have pain with the squat doesn't mean you can't do a goblet squat. Doesn't mean you can't do a leg press, which is also a squat. Because what people don't realize is when you're on the leg press, you're doing the squat movement, you're just doing it on an angle. You're not doing it directly standing up. And because of that, it's a lot less stressful on your knees. It's a lot less force and tension going through your knee joint. So that's why leg press tends to work well. But there's so many different options that you can use to modify things before you even take out an exercise. And you can apply this to every single exercise: squats, RDLs, lunges, step ups, all of these things. So if our goal is to prevent our gas tank from getting smaller and smaller and smaller and prevent us from being able to handle less over time, we want to be able to make all these modifications so that when we go into the gym, we don't resort to just doing upper body workouts only because we're scared we're going to hurt our knees. We don't want to go to the gym and still do legs, but we're only training glutes and hamstrings because over time your quads get weak and your quads are going to be one of the most important muscles for knee pain because it's the only muscle that straightens your knee, right? So you're going to need that if you plan on doing any type of squat, any type of lunge, any type of step up. So when people are like, oh, only do glute workouts if your knees hurt, you're doing yourself a disservice. So our goal is to keep your gas tank as big as possible. And the way you do that is by training all lower body movement patterns within your current tolerance. You may have to modify a couple of things, but the modifications are typically temporary. We just need to work there for a certain period of time, get strongest right there, and then build back to what we were having pain with. So that's something that people tend to not think about in the gym, and it's one of the biggest mistakes that people in the gym make. So if this is something that you have done in the past, if this is something you're currently doing, I really encourage you to get back into the gym, make modifications. And if you need help doing that, start with the knee screen, comment screen, and I'll send it to you. And if you have any other questions beyond that, drop them below in the comments or message me directly. I have plenty of resources to help you.